In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to construct a poultry house, and for illustration or idea purpose, I'll be sharing with you behind the scene how the poultry house you are going to be using for the sake of this course was constructed about 5 years ago. But to proceed, I need to tell you the functions, basic functions of a poultry house. A poultry house, just as the name implies, should be a place that houses the birds. It should be able to protect the birds against external forces such as direct sunlight, rainfall, predators, other birds, to the extent of protecting the birds against flies coming into the pen house. And also, it should be a place that gives boundary to where the birds cannot exceed within their stay. There's no one size fits all in construction of poultry house. It's just all based on your plan, your budget, and the available resources like land and other things available to you. So I'll be sharing the basic features the poultry house should have, no matter the type of poultry house you want to construct.
Wait, not skip this advert. I know you're interested in poultry farming. That's why you were about to watch that video right now, seeking guidance that will give you the courage to raise broilers and make profit. In the broiler video course, you will learn everything you need to know and succeed in raising broilers, from the planning stage that will teach you how to estimate how much it will cost you to raise the birds, how many bags of feed it will take you to feed the birds, the building structure, the spacing of the birds, to the preparation stage, the things you need to do before these birds arrive and the materials you need to be on ground, and then to the day-to-day activities. Do you know you can raise broilers for 6 weeks and they are matured enough and big enough to be sold in the market? Yes, it's possible. The broiler video course will teach you how to do that. And at the end of the day, I'm going to teach you 6 different ways to sell your broilers effectively and very fast. Now enroll to the course, let me teach you how to do it properly, so you'll be cashing out as a poultry farmer.
First feature of a poultry house is the orientation. Now, the orientation of the poultry houses are constructed to be rectangular in shape. Forgive me, I'm not using any ruler to edge straight lines here. Now, the orientation, we have the shorter axis and we have the longer axis, and it should be facing the 4 cardinal. The orientation follows the 4 cardinal points of map, where we have the east, we have the west, we have the north here, and then we have the south. Now, for the orientation of the poultry, the shorter axis should be facing the east and west direction, while the longer axis should be facing the north and south direction. And the reason for this is the sun rises from the east and sets from the west, while the north and south direction are considered the direction for wind. Now, this orientation plays a vital role, especially during the summer times, during the heat periods. The heat periods is a catastrophic period for most poultry farms. In fact, generally for all poultry farms, it's a bad time for poultry farmers. You understand? But the poultry farms that feel this effect of heat the most are those that fail to construct their poultry orientation this way. Now, let's assume the sun is coming from the east and is casting itself on the poultry. Look at this, it's casting itself on the shorter axis. At worst scenario, the sun will not exceed 1/6, somewhere around there, 1/6 of the pen house. So assuming the birds inside there are being raised in a deep litter system, in that case they can afford to move. All of them will cluster, move away from the sun, and find themselves within the shaded area. And the same repeats itself in the evening. They move away from here, come over here. Now, for the birds that are within the battery cages that cannot move, this orientation will make sure that the birds that might be affected by the sun coming from this side or from this side in the evening will not even reach up to 1/4 of the total number of the birds. And before the end of this video, I'll still show you how to prevent that from happening, all centered around the construction of the pen house. If you don't get this construction right this way, the heat period will be your worst nightmare. The minimum you will come into your poultry house and see dead birds, the minimum dead birds you will see in a day if you have over 1,000 birds, it's over 20 dead birds, 20 dead matured birds, all because of you didn't get this orientation right. Now after this orientation, the next thing to consider in the construction of a poultry house is the pillars. Now pillars come in various forms. You can use wood, strong wood, to construct your pillars. You can use wood, you can use concrete. That's inside the concrete there are rods, nice thick rods. Say, I don't know, I'm not an architect to recommend how many the rod should be. You can also use pipes, but in this case the pipes should have nice thickness. I'm not an architect also to recommend, so make sure you use an architect to control your poultry. Now poultry generally, for pillars, poultries are seen to be a hanging roof. And what is the component that is helping hold this roof on the air? It's nothing else but the pillars. So for that reason, the pillar should be strong. And assuming this is the ground level of your poultry, your pillars should come beneath the ground level. That's the ground level of the farm where the poultry is constructed. The pillars should come below the ground level. It should come below the ground level. No matter the type of pillar you decide to use, it should come below the ground level. And depending on the size of the poultry house, here is where your architect comes in. It will determine the number of pillars you will use. And the architect also, depending on the size of the poultry house, will tell you the spacing of each of the pillars. But no matter what, make sure that you have enough pillars to help you hold the roof. So next we'll move over to the roof. There are various ways that roofs of poultries are constructed. That's number 3, roofing. But no matter what you are constructing with your roof, just see roof to be this way. Roof is the main thing that prevents the sun from having access to the birds. So your roof should be high enough in that it would reduce the effects of the sun on the birds. Assuming the birds are here, somewhere here, the roof should be the type that absorbs the heat so that the effects will not come down to the birds, no matter the type of roof you are using. So make sure, no matter what you are using here, make sure you use the best, because you want your poultry to stay long enough. Even if something eventually, maybe there are times when there are scenarios that things happen, natural disasters, some of the materials you use in your poultry houses can still be reused to reconstruct. So make sure you go for the best roof. And remember, the main function of the roof is just to prevent direct effect of things like sun and rain on the birds. And in situations of sun, make sure that the roof is the type that absorbs kind of the heat from the sun, so that it will reduce the effects before it gets to the birds. Now the roof is also constructed in a way, use the best carpenter, use the best architect to do this. But just note this, the roofs are constructed and is in a way is an extension into the side walls of the poultry house, because the roof, you know, they have tambeam and other terms that they use for roofing. When they roof it, they still extend it down to the side walls of the poultry. Now the next factor to consider are the side walls. Side walls depend on where your poultry house is located. If you are in a place such as the northern part of Nigeria, that's still kind of West Africa. In fact, if you are in a place where the sun is too much, just make sure that your side walls are not too high. Your side walls should start from, say, after the DPC level. Let the carpenter just start the netting. I will still tell you what to use to cover the walls of the poultry, should in case there are sun or wind or rain. You get the point. So after the side walls, the next thing we should consider is the floor. Number 5, we consider the flooring. Now flooring comes in different forms, but no matter what, for poultry you should do a concrete floor. Why I said it comes in different, okay, back to this is the ground level. where the farm is. You understand? This is the pillars that is somehow below, that went into and below the ground. Now for the floor of the poultry, make sure that the floor is above the ground. Let the DPC come up. There are various reasons for this. Number one, when it rains, when you have wetness around the ground, you don't want it to penetrate into the poultry. If your poultry floor is the same level with the ground, it will definitely penetrate. If you are in a place that at times water do flow, maybe because the outlet, like the drainage system, is kind of blocked, water normally do flow into the farm, make sure that your floor, the DPC, is above the ground level, so that even if there is an inflow like that, it will not be able to penetrate the poultry house. There is a reason for this. For your own sake, do this like this. Now there are times that the topography of your poultry site is not level, it's not flat. That is where you can bring in these variations to save money. And this variation, let's assume that the ground of your poultry is somehow like this. The topography is not straight, it's not flat. Here is where you can, let's assume this is your DPC level. If this is your DPC level, here is where you can decide to introduce step into your pen house. Because if this is the floor level and you maintain this floor level, that means you spend more money filling these areas. You spend more money filling these areas. And in order to save yourself from spending all this money to fill these areas, you can bring this DPC like this and then make it step it down a little bit, and then go again, DPC, and then you step it down a little bit and then go. If you check this, we still have the floor. The DPC is still away from the floor here, it's still away from the floor here, and it's also still away from the floor here. Then after the flooring, the next thing you need to do, the next thing we need to consider is we need to consider the Tampolines come in various forms. We have original, we have fakes. But if you don't have the resources to get tampoline, all you just have to do is to sew empty bags of feed together, or sew empty bags of cement together. It still serves the same purpose. The only difference is that the empty bags of feed and cement that you are using as an alternative, at a point in time after being exposed to sun and rain for some time, they will tear. All you have to do is to replace them with the same empty bag of cement and empty bag of feed. But what is this tampoline's function? The tampoline's function is to help you, since the poultry is a hanging roof and you didn't raise the block up to the roof. It's just there to help you cover these places. You understand? You can just most times nail it above, so that when the sun is coming from here and it's too much on the base, you can decide now to unroll the tampoline here and it will come down to help you cover the sun effect from reaching the base. That's just the function of the tampoline. When it's raining, you close the tampoline. After the rain, you raise it up. When the sun is too much, you look for the direction where the sun is penetrating the poultry, you close the tampoline. That's just what the tampoline is doing. Another thing you need in the construction of poultry house, number 7, are trees. Poultry houses need trees depending on where you find yourself. You get the point? Trees play a lot of roles in the poultry. But no matter the type of tree you are putting, make sure that the tree is tall enough, taller than the roof itself, so that it will not be competing with the ventilation that is coming. It will not be a source blocking the ventilation. But one good thing about the tree is that when it is tall enough, it will help you shade the roof itself, and directly it will make the poultry pen house cool for the birds, and the birds will be comfortable. Now you can now decide to play around putting number 8, which are cover crops. Cover crops can be grass carpets. What they do is that they help generate oxygen, O2. Green grass, oxygen go hand in hand. When they generate this, it makes the birds more comfortable. If you are not using things like carpet grass, you can decide to plant vegetables, and in return they still do the work of cover crops, and also you sell them to make money. That's just basically how to construct poultry house. Now, when doing this, just make sure you go for the best material, and also note that all architects and all engineers are not good constructors of poultry house. That someone can be able to construct houses, hotels very comfortably and very standard and well does not mean that a person can advise you on construction of poultry house. So you have to look for an engineer, an architect, a civil engineer who has done poultry projects before. Now the next question you might be asking is, what is the size of the poultry house, the floor spacing of the poultry house? In the next video in the course, I will show you how to do that. But as promised, I will show you behind the scene of how I constructed this particular poultry house 5 years ago.